Hey filmmakers, Chung here. I am a focus puller and I have used both the Tilta Nucleus M and also the recent Nucleus Nano II, but you are of course interested to know which of the two is the better purchase. Price wise, even a used Nucleus M costs double the price of a Nucleus Nano II. But are you really missing anything when you get the Nano II? Well, the Nano II is a much newer product with a lot of new features, also a touchscreen which makes it easier to change settings, but also with certain cameras you can control the exposure settings, which the M can't do. If you just use the Nano II remote, you definitely are missing the marker ring. However, I simply made my own mod to add an ARRI WCU marker ring, which does not cost you that much and also still costs less than the Nucleus M. But also the knob size becomes much better to do more precise focusing, while the knob on the Nucleus M for me feels a bit too small. The only real thing you will be missing on the Nano II is being able to control 3 motors at a time, as the Nano II can control only 2 motors on the remote itself. However, in reality you rarely need to adjust the iris. Most often you'll be focusing and not a lot of film sets uses cine-zoom lenses, but the zoom rocker and the focus knob is enough for most jobs. Mounting the remote, the Nano II has a built-in NATO reel clamp which makes it quite easy to build a simple setup for it. While with the M you need to buy an $80 bracket to enable it to mount on an ARRI rosette, which honestly makes the M even more expensive but also quite difficult to mount. And often you see a lot of people not willing to pay for the extra mount, while it will make the focusing a lot easier when the remote is mounted on a focus station. Powering the M, there are 2 big batteries that are also used on certain gimbals. Good batteries last a few days, but some units have bad batteries that last only half a day. While the Nano II has a built-in battery that lasts 7 hours, however there is a USB-C port that can be used to power the Nano II with an external power source to extend the battery life. So the most important difference is actually the motors. The M motor does have a plus side that it can be mounted on a 19mm rod, which are much stronger and won't bend as easily as 50mm rods. But the M also has a major con, is that it does not automatically turn on when it gets power, which makes it quite annoying. When you do battery swaps you have an extra step of pressing the power on button. While the Nano II is much more simple and turns on by itself. There is just one button to calibrate or change channels, but the biggest benefit of the Nano II is that it has a torque of 5 Nm when powering it via a D-tap, and its strength is much stronger than the 2.5 Nm of the M motors. However, the Nano II can control the M motors, and I have bought the M motor as a kind of backup or if the camera needs to use on a setup with 19mm rods. However, I can't use the Nano II motors plus the M motors at the same time, as it seems that it only allows 2 motors from Nano II or 2 motors from the M. Both remotes have start-stop recording capabilities and also cables for professional cinema cameras like the Panasonic PS1H, ARRI Alexa Mini, Sony FX6 and FX9 and more. So you won't really miss anything when using the Nano II, but the Nano II can also use Bluetooth to remotely trigger Blackmagic cinema cameras and also certain mirrorless cameras, which the M can't do. One big problem with the Nucleus M is using the remote during the winter. The knob has a known issue that it gets quite stiff in the cold, while the Nucleus Nano does not have this issue at all, as I have worked with both during the winter. In conclusion, it's just better to purchase the Nucleus Nano II, as there isn't enough benefit to go for the older M. Plus the money saved buying the Nucleus Nano II, you can purchase the marker mod, the start-stop cables and a second motor, and you'll still be cheaper off than buying the Nucleus M used or brand new. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!